know specifically the things that Jane Goodall did for science. Okay, well, before I get to that, Jane Goodall is a primatologist and an activist. A primatologist studies primates. Primates are humans, lemurs, chimpanzees. In the 1960s, she set out to Gombe National Park. Gombe is in Tanzania. Tanzania is a country in the southeastern part of the African continent. And she went there for one specific reason, and it was to study chimpanzees, which are our closest relatives. We share about 98% of our DNA with them. So in the 1960s, there was really not a lot of women in science, and when she came out with all the things that she did, professors and experts discredited her from all the things that she found. But now we obviously know that they were wrong. The things that she found have helped science greatly. Human biology and primatology would not be what it is, would it be not for her research. So I'm going to be talking about the three main things that she found, and that was that chimpanzees make and use tools, which was not known at all back in the 60s, that they have, I'm also going to talk about their personalities, and that they hunt meat, which was also not known back in the 60s. Before I get to it, I'm going to be talking a bit about her stories. She credits her mother because her mom always inspired her to appreciate and respect nature. Louis Leakey is the man that got her the job because she did not have a college education. She only had a high school diploma. But he was so intrigued that she knew so much about wildlife and nature that he basically begged the National Geographic Association to fund the first 6 months, and then he said, we'll see how it goes. So she only has a PhD because after several months that she was doing research, he got her a spot at Oxford University, I think. And now she has her own institute called the Jane Goodall Institute, where they do research and they advocate for ecological preservation. So I'm first going to be talking about how she found that chimpanzees make and use tools. So this was completely accidental. The way that she would do research was she would walk up the trail, wait there with her binoculars, because at first she had to do research at a long distance because chimpanzees are very, 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 very territorial animals. So she could not go, and she was a white ape. That's what she was to them. So if they saw a white ape that they've never seen before and doesn't have the same color, it was pretty dangerous. So she was walking down a trail and she saw a chimpanzee, and she saw a chimpanzee which she later named David Graybeard, and she went behind a bush and observed him, and she saw that he got like a little twig, like a twig that you see there, like a leaf, like a little branch, and he would, with his mandibles, which is his lips, he would take out the leaves and insert it in the termite mound, right there, leave it there for a few seconds, pull it out, and with his mandibles, eat the bugs. And this was something that no one previous to this, we were known as man the tool maker. So before this, no one believed that any other animal, now we know like not only humans, chimpanzees, other animals use tools, but back then that was not the case. And according to the Jane Goodall Institute main webpage, this trait was exclusively human. So she sent a telegraph to Louis Leakey, who was not with her at the time, and he replied and said, well, now we either have to redefine tool, redefine man, or accept chimpanzees as humans. And now in 2017, there was a research done, plus one, researched her notes further, and they wanted to show how DNA from ancient chimpanzee tools correlated with her research, and how we can possibly through their DNA and different types of tools see how we evolutionized and how chimpanzees evolutionized as well. They also use leaves as sponges, so they get a few leaves, crush them, and dip them in water and take them out and like drink the water. It's pretty cool. So now I'm going to be talking about how she found that chimpanzees have unique personalities and bonds just like humans. So generally, female chimpanzees are more quiet and more nurturing, and they're not really as loud as male chimpanzees. Male chimpanzees can be very rough and very loud. And through her notes, she would write down everything that she saw, different types of personalities and different types of things that she saw in the social structure of chimpanzees. And now, in 2016, they opened up her notes once again, and some of the chimpanzees she studied are still alive today. Maybe they were adolescents or infants, and they noticed that the things that she wrote about them are still relevant today. So, for example, if one chimpanzee was very aggressive with others as an infant, it's more likely that he was still aggressive now. And that was something that just happened actually last year, that they realized that. So to be able to see the whole picture, they had to wait, just because these animals do live a long time. It is the main reason that why she went to Gumby, was to study personalities and see how we evolutionized as well. Now I'm going to be talking about that they're omnivores. So she realized also that they were omnivores because she saw a group of the group of chimpanzees that she was studying murder and eat a baby bush pig. Bush pigs are like little hogs, and she said that it was pretty terrible to see that, but I mean it's nature. So that's how she found, because previous to that, while she was doing her PhD, like when you do the thesis, she did an essay on what she had found, and her professor said that she was completely wrong, that chimpanzees were 100% vegetarian. Now we obviously know that's not the case. They do have cannibalistic tendencies, so sometimes when there's like a weak chimpanzee baby that's like not gonna live, they do eat the baby. They mainly though, when they eat meat, they eat colobus monkeys, which are the ones that fly from tree to tree. And the reason why they do that is because colobus monkeys are not very good at jumping from tree to tree, which is kind of unfortunate, because that's how they get around most of the time. And that's just chimpanzees eating a colobus monkey. So I talked about how she found that they make and use tools. I talked about their different personalities, and I talked about that she found that they also are not vegetarian. There is a documentary that just came out, I think either late of last year or early of this year, called Jane, and this is really interesting. I mean, I've read every book, I've seen every movie under the sun about Jane Goodall, and by far this is the best one. So I recommend it. 10 out of 10. Thank you.